All right.
Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. I'm having a really great time with my new friend, Christopher A. Brooks. He's a professor of anthropology at Virginia Commonwealth University. He's an award winning biographer. How many books you got now, Christopher? I got the list here, but
Yeah, this is book number 10, and that HIV book
yeah,
in
that's what I thought. I had
Kenya will be book number 11. Yes.
11. Okay. The book today we're talking about Tales of Koehler Holler, an African American family and rural Appalachia.
There you
Well,
go.
welcome back, Christopher. I'm telling Christopher, I have a, brain meltdown with this heat today. So he's been so kind to me and hasn't laughed at me too much. You can get this book unsungvoicesbooks.com. It was released Juneteenth, so it is available now. It's also available on Amazon. And welcome back again, Christopher.
Thank you.
The book. I want everybody to pick up a copy. This is such a great book, so many great stories. And I learned a lot. You will too. I'm also learning a lot from this conversation. Um, I just think it's an amazing story that Amy Finney was able to purchase the property. And this is me not knowing, but this is a genuine question. When she was enslaved, do they make was she able to make a salary, or how was she able to buy this property
Good
when she was
question.
released?
Well, keep in mind when emancipation came in the 1860s, it took her a while to accumulate. She worked hard,
Okay.
so she didn't buy the land formally until 1890. So it was many years after she had established a family, saved her money by working, and then bought it. So
Okay.
again, typically there was no salary when you were enslaved.
And that must have been so hard at that time too. It's something new, and the country acclimating to that and going out and working and that hard to buy the property. What a it was such a hopeful um, story. Like, just you're cheering for her and the family as they keep the property over the years,
Yeah.
and the things
I,
that they go through
I
decade after
will add
decade.
that there were some tragedies as
Yeah,
well, set family
right. That's what I mean.
tragedies.
There's
Absolutely.
as things happen in life, but they hung together. They hung on. Do you have a Christopher a favorite story, or a story that
Oh God.
that you
There are
like to
really
think
so
of?
many, but what came to mind when you asked that was Naomi's stepfather, Pokechop, not Porkchop, but Pokechop. That's how he was
Pokechop.
known. Pokechop. And Pokechop was, I guess you just would have to say, a hell raiser, a natural born hell raiser. Um, Pokechop was very protective of Naomi, but Pokechop actually served as a Buffalo soldier during World War II. And it took a while for the US military to catch up with him, to draft him, because he would just catch the train from one area to another, but got into a fight. And that's how they got a hold of him. Anyway, he was deployed to Germany during World War II, and of course, a segregated platoon. And he was told by the white sergeant to dig a foxhole for him, and the other soldiers had to dig a foxhole as well. Well, the white sergeant said, "Pokechop, you dig a foxhole for me." And so when the shelling started, he told the men to retreat to their foxholes. And he went running around and didn't see one that Pokechop had dug for him. And Pokechop said after the shelling had stopped, all they found of that sergeant was his leg and his boot, and that was it. So anyway, that's just one of the
Oh
several
my God. Oh
books
man.
that Pokechop tells, but there are many characters in there, including um, Naomi's late husband, William B. Muse Jr. But I'll leave that for the reader.
Yes, get the book. Get the book. Whatever happened to Poke Chop?
Pokechop eventually died because of his wounds from World War II. Um, and died at a VA hospital in that area, that part of Virginia, and was buried back in his hometown of Mayberry, West Virginia. But what was really moving about that, Naomi referred to him as Papa as well, because she had been so close to him and he really looked out after her. Naomi, of course, went to Virginia Union University, and he was supportive of her actions there, was working. And so, but she went with her mother, Doretha, to as he was passing away, and then up to West Virginia where he was interred.
There's you write about the culture, I guess, of gun ownership.
Yes, very
The
much.
book.
And Pokechop was one of the at the top of that list, who was a good shot, but not only were the men culturally inclined with the guns, the women were too. And Naomi's aunt Woodsy was as good a sharpshooter as you could find. And there's a there's another amusing narrative there where Woodsy shoots one of Doretha's boyfriends in the leg, and he doesn't stop, and she shoots him in the same hole, and that breaks his leg. So anyway, it wasn't just the men, but certainly the women who carried, including Naomi's mother, and no doubt some of the other women in that family as well. So that's so it wasn't just a male gun tradition and hunting tradition, but women were also involved in that as well.
Wow. I don't know what to say about that. That's I was gonna say I don't know if
That's
it's
the
changed much.
bootlegging too.
Has it? The bootleg?
Long
Oh,
long
I know.
tradition of bootlegging in that part of the of the state as well.
Well, tell me about the bootlegging when we come back from our last. This is going to be our last break. I wanted to because I want you to tell me right now a little bit about your relationship with Roland Hayes. We're going to play "Swing Low, Sweet Chariot."
Sure.
You wrote a book called Roland Hayes: The Legacy of an American Tenor with Robert Sims. It's on the University of Illinois Press paperback. Tell me about Roland Hayes and your relationship there a little bit, if you
Um,
could, before the.
I was first introduced to that name by a woman by the name of Louise Burge, who always referred to him as Mr. Hayes. I was a voice major as an undergraduate. That was one of my majors at University of Maryland in College Park. And so I was aware of that name. And it wasn't until many years later that I met a woman by the name of Patricia Turner, who has since passed, who gave me a book, his book, that Angel Mo book. And it was one of those revelations as I dug and talked to my colleague, Robert Sims. I said, if you're interested in doing this, I'm willing, for us to work on it. And we did. And it was really a very revelatory, and it's probably the most heavily researched book I've done. And I will say it before we go on, I have generated another 3 manuscripts out of that Roland Hayes book with
Oh,
a
there'll be
woman
another
who
maybe.
helped him by the name of Daisy Tapley. Yes.
You just don't stop, do you? Keep bringing us these stories. Do you think you'll follow up with another uh, part two or a part three?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, as I said, I never write a book that I don't expect to be published. So anyway, it's just
Yes. So
waiting for
there's
that right scenario.
there's that. There's the answer. Christopher, thank you so much. Don't go anywhere. We're gonna come right back. We're gonna listen to "Swing Low, Sweet Chariot." This is Roland Hayes. The book "Tales of Color Holler," and an African American family in rural Appalachia by NAOMI HODGE-MUSE, an international best-selling biographer, Christopher A. Brooks. We'll be right back.